All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining the InboundREM YouTube channel. My name is Robert Newman, and today I am here with Roberto Chavez. Roberto is an InboundREM consultant who has consulted with us on the application of AI. Without getting too much into it or going too deep, I have found that I have a lack of time to explore every single thing that's out there. But today, I feel, and with a little bit of input from Roberto, that we're going to do a review on Midjourney. And my understanding and my own research tells me that Midjourney is one of the top AI image editing tools. So without any further ado, Roberto, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience and also weigh in on where you think Midjourney is positioned inside the AI world.
So my name is Roberto Chavez. Really quick, I think it was November 2022, my gateway to the world of generative art was actually ChatGPT. And when that hit the market, that version in 2022, it dawned on me that this was going to be massive. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know what it was going to look like, but I understood the magnitude of humanity having a large language model of that magnitude. So I went down that rabbit hole, and I'm still down that rabbit hole. Over time, that led me to a multitude of generative AI platforms, which is what Midjourney is called, the generative AI platform. And absolutely fell in love with it. I've tried DALL-E, which is OpenAI's generative platform. I've tried FreePic, Leonardo AI, a host of different generative AI platforms. And for my money, Midjourney is far beyond the absolute best platform for generative art.
Okay, and you've taken this idea and started to apply it, like using in a great kind of quantity. You've developed an audience of close to 50,000 people on Twitter. Isn't that right? Is that do I have that right?
Between my Instagram and Twitter, I'm closer to 20,000. And I think my most successful image was received almost 350,000 likes. I have several images that I've created on Midjourney that have received 20 to 40,000 views and shared. And what's remarkable is actually just today, one of the great things on X is you can bookmark. Your audience can bookmark. My bookmark percentage went up 1,035% over the last 3 months, which tells me people are bookmarking my art to go back and refer to learn from, to mimic. And it was really a great stat on analytic to see.
Copy you. So for those of you that are joining me and wondering what we're going to do or why this is relevant, I have some ideas that say that AI might help the average real estate agent create more engagement with their content and Roberto has some ideas about how one might apply this. But instead of getting into all of that, what we're going to do is, for me personally, we're going to pull back the curtain a little bit on how long it takes to use these tools. How long did it take Roberto to learn these tools? There's no doubt that with all the buzz that's out there, that you're going to, like, the average person, myself included, gets this impression that one can just turn something on and AI, like, have
it's magic.
100,000 people follow you the next day. And I'm not sure if I'm going to increase that buzz or dispel that buzz, because Roberto, I gave you very few guidelines for this before we started, right?
Correct.
A hallmark of my channel and a hallmark of me is complete and utter transparency. That is one way that I've made my own personal reputation online. Whatever the truth is, whether it's this could be done by anybody in 10 seconds and everything you've heard is under embellished, or whether it's, well, there's a little more to it than that, whatever it is, we're going to discover it in the course of this review with Midjourney. So why don't you start us off, because I'm curious to know. I gave you a very brief outline 5 minutes before we got started, and I said, how might a realtor apply this? Give us a deeper explanation of what Midjourney is. And then once you've done that, start maybe riffing on some ideas that you'd have that might impact, like maybe a realtor might use it this way.
Got it. So Midjourney initially started on a Discord. Well, about 3 months ago, they finally released their web-based interface. And that to me has been a total game changer. Discord can be a little clunky and you have to use specific prompt language and coding language, which of course I had to learn on my own and took a little more time. However, with the web-based Midjourney platform, the UI is amazing. The user interface is super friendly. It's easy to use. Everything you need is right in front of you. So for my money, that has been a total game changer in creation of images for the last 3 to 5 months.
How long did it take you to learn the Discord version?
Oh, well over a month, easily, of trial and error. And also just looking at YouTube videos, because as we all know, there's plenty of information and tutorials on YouTube, and there's some great videos out there that I really lean in on to understand how to use all the different functions within the Discord.
So if I was to say 40 hours, was that an over embellishment? Is that an under embellishment?
Oh, that's an under embellishment.
Okay. All right. So took you over 40, like more than 40, less than 100, somewhere in there?
Less than 100, and with the caveat that now with the web-based interface, you can go and hit the Explore tab, and you can literally copy the exact prompt, make any nuanced changes to it, enter, and boom. So it's really leveled up the ability to make high-quality images.
Got you. So it wouldn't be that much time now. And the reason, the benchmark that I'm trying to give everybody is if they decide that they want to learn a new tool that may not be as established as Midjourney, because Midjourney is established now, is it not? It's one of the...
It is the #1 generative AI platform in the world, period.
Okay. So very established. Excellent.
Correct.
So in terms of adoption, if I was to give this a score of 0 to 10, this would probably be a 10.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay. All right. So we now know that we're looking at an incredibly popular tool. How might a realtor use this tool?
Well, there are a multitude of factors. I know that when realtors are putting together their website, they tend to use iStock and avenues of that sort for their website. Well, you wouldn't have to do that with Midjourney. You could go in there and go under the Explore tab and put in real estate and see what it comes in. You can be as specific or as broad.
Do that for us while you're talking.
Okay.
Put in real estate. Let's see what we pull up.
So I'm on the Explore tab right here. So hit Explore.
Sure.
I'm going under search and I'm putting in real estate. Okay. So hit enter and here we go. So one thing I will put out there is when it comes to language, Midjourney is still challenged by that. And what I mean by that is you'll see like some of these where it says, this one right here says real eye builders, or the property doesn't look. So when it comes to language or letters, it takes a lot of trial and error to get it perfect.
Scroll down a little bit.
Yeah. Good.
Okay. So I'm looking at this, Roberto, and as a person that I've used this tool 0 hours and 0 minutes for everybody in the audience. But I'm looking at this and I'm looking what's pulled up, and if it works like other digital tools of that I'm familiar with, it would seem to suggest that what people are really using this for a lot is logos and logo creation. Is that correct or
Absolutely.
not correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for any collateral you need for advertising, Midjourney is probably one of the best things to use for any posters for your website. That would probably be the primary use of that. Also, the next level would be for staging. And what I mean by that is you can actually upload, for instance, if you had a picture of a house or the inside of a living room, you can upload. Let me see. I have a home right here. Let's just upload this house. I uploaded this house and I'm going to put add a for sale ad. Hold on a second. Add a for sale sign.
Mm-hmm.
So I just did that, and now it's populating that. So you alluded to earlier, it takes about 30 seconds
Mm-hmm.
for a series of images. Usually it's 4
Mm-hmm.
that it generates for you. So let's go there. And you can see right here, it says 33% completed and what have you.
Got you.
Yeah,
But it also clearly identifies for me that if I want a demon in front of my home, I can do that.
absolutely. And this was, because the Halloween season, and of course I'm making some spooky images, and this is one that I created with having a woman with horns in a cinematic feel in front of a home.
Got you.
But that was very specific prompting, and as you can see right here, that's something I learned over time. That's not something that's instantaneous. And then there's a host of data right here, right? This is your aspect ratio. This is the version 6.1, which is the latest version of Midjourney. This is the style number. Style numbers range from 0 to 1,000. And it gets really specific. But let me go back to the images here. So here's what it did for me.
Mm-hmm.
It took that image and created these. Now, you wouldn't do anything with these. What you would have to do is go back and then start to edit and work on it. So it's not certain things aren't instantaneous, right? You have to continually work. Say go to editor, and I can use the erase function. I can change the aspect ratio on it.
Mm-hmm.
I can make it cinematic. Can make it 16:9. I can make all these changes to it. And just to allude to pricing, so how Midjourney prices things out is based on hours used. So that image request took 30 seconds. So the plan I'm on, I believe, is about $20 a month, and I have 5 hours of generation time.
Mm-hmm.
So do the math, 30-second images, and they continually deduct from that 5 hours. Now, there are a multitude of plans, of course, that they have for different levels. And here's an idea. So right here, you see the 15 hours of fast generation. That's a lot of generation time. This is 30 hours. So you think, once again, extrapolate 30 seconds per request, and then they subtract from that total hour. And then right here, 100, that's 60 hours of generation.
Got you. Now,
Yeah.
I have a question. For me, the way my mind works, and the reason I've got you on the show or my channel, is I am instantly curious about how this pricing compares to other AI tools. And I'm not saying anything specific. I'm just saying, in general, how is this pricing in comparison to other AI tools?
They're relatively comparable, but no one really has. Once you start going into generative video AI, then the pricing goes up. But for instance, DALL-E, which is ChatGPT's format, if you wanted unlimited access, that's $20 a month. That's ChatGPT Plus, right? So when you're a member of that, you also get access to DALL-E, which is their generative art platform. Leonardo's roughly the same. Free Pick is roughly the same. So they're all priced around the same price point.
Got you. All right. So same price point. So for the audience that may have not caught that, that was like somewhere between $10 and $90 a month. And Roberto E. Ominous, I'm switching this up on you just the slightest bit because I see an instant application as a guy that's bootstrapped like 5 or 6 businesses over time. Some of the time I've started a business with as little as $100. And so at that level as a business owner or perhaps a new realtor, you are every dollar counts. And at $10, if I can generate a fairly cool logo that requires creativity, I'm going to say in advance, that's probably even better than what you could get off Fiverr, because you can get a little Fiverr logo for $5 or $10. Unfortunately, it usually comes with very limited revisions. So for pricing and a creative person, I see an application for a realtor here who's brand new, trying to create a logo for their business. That I see a strong application for. Now, for anybody that is not brand new, I'm not so sure that this is a tool that you'd look at to do logo creation, because for $99 at 99 Designs, you can get 100 logos submitted to you by professional designers, pick the winner, and that might be better for you unless you happen to have an artist or design background, because you're putting in, if I'm understanding this correctly, you're putting in prompts to get a different feel once you get something
Correct.
generated. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
So if you don't have any ideas, like right off the top of your head, like I want a better grayscale and I want this font and I want this number of font, then this may or may not work for you. Is that right? Would you agree with that?
I
Okay.
agree with 100%.
Okay. So that's interesting. So we've got logo design here. We've got, you mentioned staging homes. Obviously that would require quite a little bit of work. You'd have to upload all those pictures. Now, what are some of the changes that you can make inside the home? Could you change the way the furniture is laid out, as an example? Like if you had a picture?
Yeah, if you had a picture of the inside of a home, you could literally prompt it, I want to go with a modern look. Boom. And of course, if it meets your your desired level, great. If not, there are so many functions right here. Here's some of the functions. You could change the layout. You can change the stylization. You can change the weirdness, the variety. There are a multitude of little tools within these images, within this platform, that you can tinker around with, which are fantastic. Let's see. So let's go back to, let's go back to this home. So now I'm going to go to editor, right? So in here, if I wanted to go, right here. So I'm shading this whole area, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Right. And then I'm going to go to my prompt, comma, add a known. So I submitted it. Now it's generating that. So basically you can go in there, and once again, this is relatively new to Midjourney, probably in the last 2 months, the editor function, where you can now go in there and tinker with the images in a way that you couldn't before. So this is a great time. So you see, it didn't take it.
Okay.
So sometimes AI isn't perfect, and sometimes it takes doing things over multiple times. So the learning curve is tremendous. You have to be consistent at trying to go, okay, how can I get what I want out of this?
So Roberto, listen, people don't know you. I do. It's full transparency. Everybody watching the show, Roberto's a personal friend, and I asked him to collaborate on this because I think that there's going to be a huge business for him. He's a teacher right now, and I think there's going to be a big business for AI consultants. That's my position, and that's what I told you when I pitched you on coming and doing a show on the channel, right? Okay.
Yes.
So, but having said that, the reason I think that there's going to be that market is because I think that these tools take a long time, even when you like to learn how to use them correctly. That's my opinion. It's just an opinion. Would you agree with that opinion?
To use them proficiently, absolutely. It is not magic. It's something I've been able to hone my craft as an AI artist because I've diligently put in the time over several months. I've been creating generative art probably for about a year now, and I'm not even happy with where I'm at, but I'm happy with my progress because it's a lot of trial and error. It doesn't happen overnight. However, with that being said, if you want shortcuts, we could do this. So real estate, right? Let me spell correctly. All right. So let's pick any image here. Let's see.
Go to the one on the right. The three realtors. Pick that one.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. So this is the prompt. 3 real estate agents, all of them successful, standing in front of a beautiful old money real estate mansion, detailed facial features showing her happiness.
Okay.
Copy, prompt. Now what I do, I go to my prompt window. paste. Now, the one caveat is, I actually turned off my personalization because over time I'm actually able to personalize my look, but I believe I turned it off for this video. So now
Sure.
enter that.
Mm-hmm.
So now it is going to generate that for us. So that's an immense shortcut. Oh yeah, it actually picked up some of the things I didn't turn off. So you see chaos, aspect ratio, the latest version, style number, and weird 1800. So it might generate something really interesting. We'll see.
And ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that don't know, I think that if you're watching this video, you probably, like me, have been pitched incessantly on Facebook for people selling prompts. And this is why they're selling these prompts. They already know what they're going to generate, and they're basically doing the shortcut where they're telling you, you don't have to spend 100 hours or whatever it's been for Roberto. We've got this list of prompts I've already researched, and we think that you can apply this large language model generative data in X fashion. And people are doing it with chatbots. They're doing it with all sorts of image generators. They're doing it with art. The list of things goes on and on. And obviously,
so here we go.
Yeah, you got something different.
Yeah, and that's because I didn't turn off all this. I should have just, this is some of the stuff I have internally within my own Midjourney, but this isn't too bad. You have 3 people in front of a building, a house.
Yeah.
Everything's clean. It's as close as you're going to get. So that's sort of a shortcut or cheat where you wouldn't even have to necessarily come up with the prompt yourself. You could go and mine, because let me tell you, people are constantly putting up things, and it's all public, you know. So all these images you see, if there's something that you see, you literally open it up, you copy the prompt and you plug it in. And then of course you can tinker with it. You can make any nuances, like I want this color, or I want a sunset in the background, or you want material to showcase a neighborhood like Beverly Hills, right? So there are things that you can do.
Let's do something like that. Let's do home example, Mount Olympus, Beverly Hills, California.
Example. Mount Olympus, California.
Yeah, you put it into the search. I want to generate something. Search
okay,
it, or put it in, or like it's home, HOME example.
Yep.
MT period Olympus, OLYMUS.
OUS.
Olympus. So
yeah, got it. Missed the M.
OLYMPUS.
Got it.
All right, Mount Olympus, Beverly Hills, California. See what if anything happens. Beverly hit it. Wow. Yeah, it's fine. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens when you put that in.
All right. So submitted it, and then it's working on generating 4 images for you.
Right. Now, here's my idea, ladies and gentlemen, and I have no idea. Again, I don't know if Midjourney would work for this, but as a guy that does SEO and web content, and we don't, obviously, you can all tell I don't use it like this. I don't use Midjourney for any of this. And why don't I use Midjourney? Because I don't know where they're pulling the images. I explained to Roberto before the show started that plagiarism is an incredibly important thing. I'm the owner of an agency. I can't afford to not be 100% sure. So I generally go out and buy images and collect 100% of the copyright rights to them so that there's no question. That's my position. However, I am not in the same position as every single person watching this video. And you might be able to use some of this stuff in very broad ways to collect data and provide context inside things like blog posts and neighborhood pages. You can't obviously use these images to pretend like it's a listing that you have anything to do with. The listing may not even be real, if I understand this tool correctly. Is that right?
Correct. And that would completely undermine you as an agent if you were to use an image that you created on Midjourney as in place of the actual listing picture that you're supposed to use.
Right. So language would be very, very tricky here, ladies and gentlemen. Like, you'd have to say this isn't This is a imagined example, is how I would use language. An imagined example of a living room you might find in a home in this area in Beverly Hills. And now you clearly indicate that it is not necessarily a real listing, that somebody can contact you and say, I want that living room. I've got $30 million. Let me buy that home. It doesn't work that way.
In regard to language, some of the language that tends to be used out there is this is an AI rendering.
Gotcha.
So to just put, that's some of the language that's used often.
Perfect. We're very transparent. Okay, so Roberto, are there ideas that I haven't had that you can imagine about how a real estate agent might use Midjourney specifically to enhance like social media channels, to like, is there any ideas that you have that to market yourself?
As we all know, in regard to any business in the social media driven world that we live in, content is king. Well, I think Midjourney allows you to generate visual content for the various platforms that you're on. Even though it's not the listing, it could be images of the respective neighborhood or the amenities or schools, just to give people a fuller picture and to create that constant channel of content. Of course, using it for websites, using it for blog posts, as you alluded to, using it for logo creation. I think those would probably be the top 4 or 5 use cases for something like Midjourney.
Got you. All right. On a scale of 1 to 10, actually, let's not do that quite yet. So let's start to break this down. We're just going to do a recap, a summary of Midjourney. For adoption, it's the top tool for image alterations. On a scale of 1 to 10, in terms of usability, what do you give it?
I would give it a 9.
Okay, 9 for usability. On a scale of 1 to 10 for price, what would you give it?
Give it a 9 as well.
On a scale of 1 to 10 for theoretical usefulness to a realtor specifically, what would you give it?
Probably a 7.
Okay. And on a scale of 1 to 10, as it compares to all the AI tools that you've ever tested or ever looked at, what would you give it?
A 10.
Okay. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that has been our down and dirty review of Midjourney. Roberto, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on to my channel and agreeing to do this with me, and all that good stuff. If somebody wanted to reach out to you and potentially, so ladies and gentlemen, I've been free thinking this with Roberto, and here's what I use Roberto's time for, and I pay him for this time. I use Roberto to shorten my learning curve on learning applications. I tell him the ones I'm interested in. I tell him what I'm trying to accomplish with the tool. He takes his already deep knowledge of AI, goes out and looks at it, and then we have a conversation surrounding whether or not we really think there's an application for my business. As part of that consultation, he's looked at my business, he's looked at my website, he's looked at my YouTube channel. He has an understanding of what it is that we do, and his reports tend to be pretty succinct and very honest and transparent. I would guess, just off the top of my head, that Roberto has saved me 10 to 20 hours. And on top of that, I feel much more on top of the AI conversation in general, because every time somebody comes to me with the newest, latest thing, I have already given Roberto a couple of those to look at, and I probably will continue to give him some of them to look at, so that I understand beyond a shadow of a doubt, am I missing the boat on something, or is it maybe not ready for what I need it to do? All right, that's my explanation. How would you describe, like, if I was to say a realtor could call you and ask, like, for some kind of task related to AI, what would you say?
I would say right now there are a multitude of tools that can make you as a real estate agent more efficient in advertising exactly what you have to offer.
Perfect. And if somebody wanted to just ask you a couple questions and have a conversation with you about potentially doing something like that, how would they reach out to you?
I'm on all the socials under the Macro Sift, the Macro, TheMacrosIft on Instagram, on X, on Facebook.
Okay, very cool.